Time to reinstall the turbo. First things first, I want to put the intake manifold back on with a brand new gasket. Then I'm going to clean this surface, remount the turbo, and finally make a new turbo oil drain line. I'm also doing an oil change while I work over here. When torquing down manifolds, you want to start in the center and work your way out, alternating from side to side to prevent it from warping. And here's my rebuilt turbo. With the correct oil drain fitting and flange for the hose that I've made, have to remove the old drain hose first. Here's a 90 degree that goes into the block banjo fitting, and a 45 that connects to the turbo. And here's the new drain hose installed. I went with a 45 degree fitting attached directly to the turbo flange into a 45 degree 10AN fitting, then about 6 inches of hose into a 90 degree 10AN fitting, and finally an 18mm to 10AN banjo fitting in the block. Next up on my list of things to do is making a new oil fill tube. I've got the original one right here. Real good design. I hate that it's plastic, but the way it works is you have this aluminum bit that goes into the side of the oil pan, and then the tube sticks right down in there like that. Oil cap and dipstick are all sort of integral. The downside with it is you can't use it with the turbo engine because of the crankcase pressures. This just shoots right out of there. So I'm changing things up a little and going with the petrol or gas version tube. So I'm going to cut off the bottom and make a new flange, and that'll be my new fill tube. Plus, these oil caps are not very leak prone, and you can still buy them new. And there it is. All you gotta do, weld it all together. Okay, so a little change of plans. Gotta go get some welding wire because I'm out. In the meantime, I'm gonna put my new oil puck on. This is the Crankcase vent valve for a diesel. It's sort of like a PCV on a gas engine, a positive crankcase vent valve, whatever you want to call it. It just vents out excess crank pressure while also allowing oil to supposedly drain back into the engine. Not that they work too well, but the engine's equipped with one, so I'm going to put a new one on. There's the original one, and here's the new one. I'm going to get that put on. That'll take all of 90 seconds, and then I'm going to go get welding wire. I didn't like the way my first flange made it up with the oil pan, so I made a better one. This one was just a little bit short because I was using some scrap steel. So when going to the store to get more welding wire, got a new plate, and this one is 1/4 inch. Quite pleased with this. Now to get it welded up. And here's a comparison of the new filler tube against the old filler tube. You can see it's a very close match. And here it is bolted up to the oil pan. It is getting up to about 50 degrees, still a little bit windy. I cut the pipe off that went to about here, put this flex section in, and then I made a 90 degree bend, mandrel of course. What I'm kind of tempted to do, just for the time being, is turn this straight down so it dumps. It would sound pretty good. I do plan on having a catalytic converter and a muffler, keep it nice and quiet. I'm kind of tempted to put some sort of cutout here. What do you think? Should I put a cutout so that it just dumps before the catalytic converter and the muffler? Or should I just have it all be one piece? I'm leaning towards just one piece, but it's so tempting to run it just the way it is. Now for something a little less complicated. Replacing the camper ports. First things first, removing all the screws. Of course, I'm missing a couple, but that really doesn't matter because they do have spares. So as you can see, I'm grinding away whatever surface rust I found, and now I'm going to treat it. Now that I have the original fitting removed from the old port, I put some Teflon tape on it to help it seal. Just thread it right in. Now I understand that there are better ways to do this, but for the time being, I just want to get everything hooked up. And when I get the cabinets out, when the weather warms up, I'll make everything up to code. Put a brand new seal behind it. Water inlet, done until spring. Now for the electrical. Be sure when putting it back together, you have all the wires in the correct order. I grab my new seal and put it in place. Now for the new water port. I highly recommend that you install the seal before putting these on. There we go, all my new ports in place. One thing I find really disappointing with the new water port is this little plastic key to open this gate. Not really the best design, but it's all that's available aftermarket. As for the rest, I'm quite pleased. And it might look like this is bare metal, but it isn't. That's actually treated steel, so it's sealed until spring when I can paint the area. Thankfully, I like saving parts. That came off of my 85 Vanagon right there. This is the alternator starter harness, and this melted one came off my 83 Westie right here. It chafed through the sheathing right here on the bulkhead pass-through here, and it caused a short, which made the vehicle just stop running. There was smoke, a little electrical fire. That's why I ended up buying it, because the person who put this engine in got scared of it and decided just to sell it because it wouldn't start anymore. And the reason why it wouldn't start is because that was grounding out on the bulkhead, which had destroyed the battery. The battery internally had lost a few cells because of that. It just wouldn't hold the charge anymore. So I'm just cleaning things up, putting better wiring in, fixing a few wires, rerouting some stuff, just making it look a little bit cleaner. Things will be easier to access and service. I rerouted the oil pressure line because before it went behind the engine and was all kinked up. So now it has smooth flow. It goes right here, goes there. So I'm just gonna route things a little bit better, make it a little safer, and yeah, things are looking good. And don't forget, you can follow me on Instagram, Twitter, and Facebook with links in the description down below.